Hey, what's up, guys? It's Motoziety, and today's an absolutely gorgeous day. The sun's about to set, and I'm on the Triumph StreetTriple R 765. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about what it's been like owning this bike for the past couple of months, how I've been enjoying it, some of the pros of this bike, some of the cons of this bike, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So before we get into the video, I just want to take a quick second to thank those of you who have subscribed to my channel, interacted with my videos, commented on my stuff, liked my videos. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate all the feedback you guys have given me so far. For those of you who enjoy my videos and haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot, and all of your feedback is appreciated. So I've owned my Triumph now for about 5 months, and it's been pretty much all smiles, honestly, to tell you the truth. This bike is absolutely fantastic. I really can't think of much that I don't like about the bike. Obviously, it was winter here in Jersey, so it's harder to ride during that season. So about 2 months of that time isn't really riding hands-on with the bike, but the other 3 have been every single chance I get to take the bike out. I am taking it out, I'm riding it, I'm having a fantastic time with it. But there are definitely some pros and there are definitely some cons to the bike. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, so that if you're looking at, the new Triumph, the 2023 and the 2024 models specifically, you can make a better informed decision on whether or not you want to buy it. I'm going to start with the pros first, because there is a lot of really good things to say about this bike. For, a little under $12,000 out the door, MSRP at $10,000, you walk away with a phenomenal machine that can do a lot of really awesome things and has a lot of power behind it. It's got traction control, it's got ABS, it's got changeable modes, and I've really been enjoying playing around with all the different modes and everything like that, and just ripping this bike around on the back roads and everything like that. It's been great. Suspension is phenomenal on this bike. I picked up this bike because I really wanted a better commuter bike. I have an hour ride to work there and an hour ride back, so it's a 2-hour commute back and forth to work, and I just wanted something that was a little bit more comfortable every time I take it back and forth to work. And I think I really did choose the right bike with that one, because the seat feels great, the suspension is phenomenal for both riding the bike hard and fast in the corners, but also just riding it regular to work. So that being said, it's definitely a jack of all trades. It can do your daily commute to work and be comfortable, but it can also be a formidable street machine when you want to go and tear up some roads. As far as the modes go, you have rain, you have road, and then you have street. So rain mode definitely makes this bike super approachable for new-ish riders. I wouldn't say that this bike should be your very first bike, but if you had a bike previously that was a little bit slower and you're looking to upgrade to something like that, your intermediate level bike, so to speak, I think that this is definitely a super solid option. Because with the rain mode, you're probably at like 70 horsepower, maybe a little bit more. So if you just want to ride the bike around in rain mode for a little bit, get used to it, it's definitely way knocked down on power and is super approachable. There's a lot of times where, like, if I just want a relaxed ride to work and I want to save money on gas and everything like that, I'll just pop it in rain mode and ride to work like that. And the bike still got speed, it's still got power, but it is definitely a lot more approachable for someone who is, a little bit worried about having a torquier naked bike. When you get into the road mode and everything like that, you're talking a lot more power. So the majority of the time I ride the bike in road mode. That is what I think is the best and most practical mode for this bike. You got a lot of power when you're in road mode, and it is controllable. You got your traction control on, you got your ABS on. Street is obviously the highest power level, so you're getting a lot more torque, and that is definitely not something I would recommend to a beginner rider. The few times that I've taken my bike out for like rips when I'm with Drew and he's riding his Gixxer, I have it in street mode just so I have the most, horsepower and everything like that. It burns gas like crazy, but it is a lot of power and it is a lot of fun. But road mode, honestly, is the majority of the time what I'm riding the bike in, and I think that is the most manageable and reasonable way to ride the bike. But I am definitely glad that I have all 3 options for you know, being able to change between them and everything like that. Because rain mode, like I said, if I'm riding to work, it is definitely the most eco-friendly mode, and I save money on gas. Because when it is in street mode, when it is in road mode, this bike burns gas. It's a bigger CC bike, it's gonna burn gas. Obviously, it doesn't cost that much to fill it up. I think it's about $10, 93, putting in it for a full tank. But my ride to work, basically in street mode, will kill my entire tank. As far as style goes, this bike definitely has it. I mean, every time I go out with this bike, I get compliments on it. People want to know what it is. People are, you know, everyone's looking at it. This bike looks really good. Off the line, the R has some interesting things going on with it. It's got the regular round mirrors that most bikes come with standard. If I got the RS model, it would have come with the side mirrors that I have now. But, you know, I changed those out already, and I think that improves the look overall. I've got a integrated taillight and a tidy tail coming from it for it soon, so that's definitely going to improve the look. But off the line, I mean, this bike looks great. It looks absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, I've got plenty of compliments on the bike, and people want to know what it is. They haven't, you know, you don't see many of them on the road, so you've definitely got something that's cool and interesting, and it's I enjoy talking about it with people who come up and want to know what it is. If you're stuck between the StreetTriple R and the RS model, I would definitely recommend getting the R over the RS. I just don't see a justification for the price tag. The R off the line, I believe, makes 120 horsepower, and the RS makes 128. It's not that much of a difference, and honestly, 120 horsepower for the road is a solid number. This bike is still a ton of fun, and I don't think you're losing out on much with getting the R over the RS. However, I do wish that the StreetTriple R for the 2023 and 2024 models had better colors. I love the silver. I think the silver looks absolutely phenomenal on this bike. But if the option to get yellow or red was there, I probably would have gone with the yellow or red. So I can see, you know, I can see wanting to pay a little bit extra for that option. It just, at the time going between it, I couldn't justify paying that much more money to get a little bit more horsepower and a little bit of a nicer looking bike, because obviously later on I can upgrade the things I want to upgrade, just probably not the color of the bike. As far as options go for this bike though, there's a lot of options for this bike. There's a lot of things that you can get for this bike to improve the style, improve the look. So I'm super happy with that. I always love when there's, you know, dealer options as well as third-party options for my bike, you know, because that just, I love, you know, customizing my stuff and making it my own. So I'm definitely happy with the amount of stuff that's out for the bike that I'm able to get and customize my bike. Like I said, I have an integrated taillight coming for it and a tidy tail. I am also working on the exhaust stuff, but that's kind of where the cons start to come in for this bike, and I'm about to talk about those now. So for the 2023 and the 2024 StreetTriple R and RS models, Triumph did something interesting, and it kind of is a little bit frustrating. So in order to meet EU standards and possibly American standards too, I'm not really sure, Triumph fully welded the exhaust system from the headers all the way back to where you would normally put a slip-on exhaust. So there is no longer an option for the StreetTriple, and I believe any of the bikes from the 2023 and 2024 Triumph year models to do a slip-on exhaust, which sucks because slip-on exhausts are usually a lot cheaper than full exhaust options, and most of the time you do not need a tune to run a slip-on exhaust. However, now, if I want to get an exhaust for this bike, I either need to get a full exhaust, or there is a company called RaceFit, I believe, that is doing OEM style headers with a catalytic converter in them, and they have like a slip-on attachment for it, which seems pretty nice. They cost around $1,500 plus shipping to get to the US. They're a company based in the UK. So that's a little bit pricey for just wanting a better sound out of the bike, because honestly, the bike is quiet, and that's not something I'm used to in a bike. I'm not used to my bike being super quiet and super silent. And obviously I don't want my bike to be super loud and blow out people's eardrums or my eardrums, but I do like a little bit of sound. I like to hear, you know, I like to hear my upshifts. I like to hear my downshifts. So it is a little bit frustrating that I now have to go and spend $1,800 possibly, depending on how much shipping costs, to get a nice exhaust for the bike. Speaking of my upshifts and downshifts though, I completely forgot to mention on the pro side, there is a quick shifter on this bike and an auto blipper on this bike. And it comes completely stock with the bike. So for, like I said, $10,000 MSRP plus whatever dealer fees you pay, little under $12,000, you walk away with basically a track bike. It's got a quick shifter up and down. It's fucking amazing. It's definitely solid for my ride to work and my ride home because one less thing I got to do, and it is super smooth and comfortable. So when there's been a lot of times where I'm riding my Ninja home from work and I'm tired, guys. Occasionally I give it a crappy shift and I just hate that. So I don't have to worry about it as much when I'm on the Triumph, and I know that my downshifts are going to be rev matched for me automatically, and my upshifts are going to be rev matched for me automatically. And it's peace of mind. It's peace of mind because I definitely have done some bad shifts when I'm tired and I had a rough day at work and everything like that. Back to the cons though. In a previous video about the Triumph, I talked about some of the brake squeak that I was getting and hearing with the bike. That has since stopped, but it was something in the beginning of owning this bike that I was concerned about because none of the other bikes that I've owned have had that. The dealer assured me that it was normal, that a lot of Triumph owners have that same problem, but it was definitely something that gave me hesitation after I had just spent all that money on this bike, and I got home with the bike and had ridden it around for maybe like 50 miles, and it was, every time I'd use the rear brake, it was squeaking like crazy. It has since stopped. Occasionally it still does it, but they assured me that after probably around my first oil change, second oil change, that would be fully done. So hopefully by that time it will be done, but it is something to look out for. Speaking of the first oil change, that is also another thing about this bike. So to get the service done through the Triumph dealer, and in my area there is only one Triumph dealer. It is about 2 hours away from me. I drove 2 hours to pick up this bike. So if I wanted to get the service done at that dealer, it would cost me a little over $300. That's, first service, oil change, they check out the bike, everything like that. That is a little bit pricey for first service. Triumph obviously is an expensive bike. Obviously the service is going to be a little bit expensive. It makes sense. But just something to look out for. If you get the service done at the dealer, it's going to be very expensive. And all of the other bike shops around me are not certified to do Triumph bikes. So I would void my warranty if I took it to them. You do have the option through your warranty to do the oil change yourself, but you have to use Triumph products and everything like that, I believe. Overall though, this bike is absolutely solid, and I'm really glad that I picked it up. I was between a Duke 790, this bike, and a Triumph Trident 660, and I was really torn between them, but I went to the dealer, looked at all the bikes in person, and I absolutely fell in love with this bike, and I'm really glad that I got it. I'm hoping to talk to more of you guys on YouTube that have Triumph bikes and everything like that and see how you like them. But again, I just want to thank all of you guys who have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider it, and I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day.